Christopher Columbus did it in a boat. Phineas Fogg did it in 80 days. Richard Branson tried to do it in a hot air balloon. But none of them did it with 3 baby boys. Introducing the world's youngest explorers, 11-month-old twin boys, Ollie and Max, and their younger brother, Freddie. Join them and their loving parents, Wilco and Anya Drew, as they set out on their 12-month adventure around the world. Together, they are 4 men and a lady.
We were 2 people happy, traveling around the world, visiting all these places about which we only heard. We count these 3 little passes that'll change our lives for good, and our travel plans continue with a slightly heavier load. And we are 4 men and a lady. Some people think we're crazy, as long as we got each other, we'll be 4 men and a lady. We'll be 4 men and a lady. We'll be 4 men and a lady.
Our 6th flight with our babies in just as many months should have been taking us straight home from Russia. But the cheapest flight involved a Scandinavian stopover, and that was all the excuse we needed to pull up for a few weeks to check out Norway.
After Hong Kong and Russia, it's such a joy to rock up in a country and say, can we have a couple of car seats? Sure, no problem. We'll put them in the back of the taxi for you. Really feels much safer and much nicer for us and the kids.
Oslo, day 1.
Strangely, the greater area of Oslo is actually a huge expanse. And at 450 square kilometres, that's touching 200 square miles, it is by size one of Europe's largest cities. But with only 500,000 people living there, by inhabitants, it is one of the smallest European capitals, and often referred to as Norway's capital village. Funny hats and oversized epaulets means you're nearing Oslo's 19th century royal palace and are being checked out by one of the monarch's guards. But this is Oslo, so relax, stroll on past the stern faces and you can walk right up to the famous historical home of Norway's current and past kings and queens.
Norway suffered, like every country, enormously during World War II. But there are 2 characters who are highly involved, who are immortalised here with these beautiful cast statues. The first behind me, on an external front, fighting with the British and American troops, Winston Churchill. But locally, this guy here with his bicycle, Gunnar Sonsteby, who led the internal resistance against Hitler and his Third Reich army. We've just worked out what's going on here. We've been seeing all day double buggies, triple buggies, even a quadruple buggy. Thinking, has everybody got triplets, whatever's going on here? Turns out they're kindergartens and it's their teachers pushing them around town. That makes a lot of sense. Looks very miserable. I think Captain Jack Sparrow might have nicked his ship because he looks awfully pissed off.
When it comes to museum time in Oslo, downtown has all of the fine art hotspots. But for more kids' fun displays of local animals, penguins and explorers' boats, you'll need to stroll down to the port and hop on a quick ferry to Big Doy, a peninsula with an island feel almost entirely dedicated to outdoor and big hangar-style museums.
Tall blonde people, seafood and Vikings. That's what you get in Norway, and the place behind me is the best place to go and check out 33% of that lot. It's such a privilege to be here, standing next to this boat here, 1,200 years old and still, because of its burial chamber position, in immaculate condition. The Viking Museum is not going to blast your world away. It's nice, it's small, it's easy with little kids like this. They don't get too uptight. And if your kids are a little bit bigger, they can build model Viking ships and get a little bit excited about the old ways of the sea.
Always on a nautical theme, just down the road from the Viking Ship Museum, past the Norwegian Maritime Museum, around the corner from Fram's Polar Ship exhibit, is the fascinating story of the Kon-Tiki.
This is the famous Kon-Tiki, the raft that Thor Heyerdahl took to sail from Lima all the way to Polynesia. It's 8,000 kilometers. Unbelievable. On a little raft like this, with 5 people.
Of all the museums we've checked out today, some are kind of kids friendly, but this, the Polar Fram, is definitely the pick of the lot for kids. Completed in 2008, the beautiful building behind me is the Oslo National Opera, a terrific place for local and international passing operatic societies. But for our kids, it's really just an excuse to enjoy the slanted roofs and have a great kickabout.
With over $700 million spent on it, you would hope that the new Opera House is pretty special, and it is. But for us, as for so many others, its appeal is not the performances, technology, acoustics, or its 1,000 rooms, but simply its striking, yet open and friendly, urban feel. The structure shouts, "Come play with me, climb my walls," projecting a totally unstuffy feel from a type of building so often associated with highbrow, best behaviour gala evenings.
The Oslo Town Hall looks like a prize in who could build the ugliest building out of bricks, but actually it's got some really beautiful little details around it. Although for me, the entire ensemble when put together is still a little bit rubbish looking.
Despite the greater region's scale, the main attractions and centre of town are actually very compact, and that makes walking, with the odd tram journey thrown in, a perfect way to set about exploring.
It's just so lovely seeing all these kids from kindergarten out and about rather than stuck in some sallow room somewhere using public transport and just enjoying being kids. I could Akershus Fortress is a brilliant place to come in its own right, but also a terrific place to get your bearings on Oslo. Because from here you can see right the way across to the museums, a great vista of Aker Brygge area, the royal palaces over there to the right hand side, leading to the centre of town, and then right in the far distance you can just about make out the famous Oslo ski jump.
Akershus Castle dates back to the 1200s, although most of what one can see today is the result of a more recent 17th century facelift. Its great condition is due in part to preservation efforts, but mostly because it hasn't actually seen much action. No foreign country ever took it by force, although the Swedes had a few goes and the Germans occupied it without a battle.
To leave the prams at the entrance because there's so many steps, so it's us carrying 3 kids. Fun and games.
Although the castle is undoubtedly a tourist stop with great guides and visitor amenities, it is still an active army building and the headquarters of the Norwegian Ministry of Defence.
So whenever you find yourself in a foreign city with a few kids and you're not quite sure what to do, check out if they've got a castle or a fortress. From tiny little things like ours, there's always space for them to kick a football around, and for those with a little older ages, there's imagination of old dragons, princes and damsels in distress. We met these nice guys, Juliana and Petra, at the fort this morning, and they've got 3 boys, 5, 3 and 1. So we figured we needed 6 boys for lunch, and welcome to the chaos. Lunch with 6 boys under 5. I'm not sure whose idea that was, but actually, it's not been as crazy as it sounded.
Early evening means bath and bedtime for our family, but for any other travellers in town, it's time to head to the city's iconic ski jump for a perfect sunset view over Oslo. Great planning of our journey meant we were in Norway smack in the middle of summer, so we could be sure of perfect weather. But in this northern part of Europe, summer is a pretty loose term and only really means no snow.
Today hasn't quite worked out as planned. It's been a bit of a washout. We're here in Oslo's central station because it's the only dry place in the whole of Norway, feeding the kids spag bog from some dodgy takeaway place and hoping that it might clear up a little bit later so we can make our way to the medieval extravaganza in the park. We're going there, whatever happens.
The Middelanda Festival is held every June in Oslo and is a full weekend of kid and family fun. There are market stalls, jousting tournaments, jugglers and historical plays, all acted out by a slightly odd-looking bunch of Norwegians.
This old fishwife's having a right proper ding-dong with her hubby about some fish. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but she seems to be throwing this large
Germanish on the floor and shouting at him.
This one. Okay. Okay. Oh, missed it. Thanks very much. Wow, Oslo, she knows what she's doing.
Oh, that's heavy.
Where's Daddy? Where did Daddy go? What? Where's Daddy gone? Has Daddy gone into the 1300s? Has he?
This is one of the best things I've ever seen. It's an archaeological dig for kids. Everybody gets given their meters squared and the kids go and get their spades and see what they can find. We're not going to let our kids out because they'll destroy all the other guys' fun.
I'm just queuing up to get some lunch for us grown-ups. The boys have already had their lunch and I'm starving. We're going to get some weird-looking meat in a bun. I don't know what it is, but I'm hungry. I'll eat anything.
Cheese on some flatbread, and yours for only $8 US. Oh, it's not medieval prices round here.
Rainy day. We've had a terrific time out here at this medieval extravaganza. I don't think these guys in the 1400s would have been put off at all by a bit of a rain, and I don't think the modern day Norwegians get too bothered and let a few clouds spoil their Sunday afternoons either.
As it usually only stops raining in Oslo to let the snow fall, the local Norwegians are pretty jacked up with indoor centres for kids and warm shops and coffee bars for mums and dads.
Women and Lydia, welcome to Child Planet.
This place is magic. Coffee, internet, chuck the kids in there, kindergarten at the back. When it's raining in Oslo, in fact, you know what, even if it was sunny, I'd bring the kids here and lock them up for the day. It's marvellous.
Okay, so it might not be worth an entire flight to Oslo just to come to Child Planet, but it certainly is worth spending a lot of time here when you're here. We've had the most terrific morning, despite the fact the weather has been appalling and a total washout. Come on, Maxie, it's time to go back, I think. What? Too many kids and not enough time, and we haven't made the effort to get across to Bergen, the other side of the country here. But the lovely thing about the village of Oslo is just outside you can come and find some terrific examples of Norwegian countryside. If you want to understand what it might look like further up north in the Arctic region, well, just open up your freezer and stick your head at the back. But for the rest of the country, to understand the lakes and the beautiful countryside and forests, just come and check out this place.
Still technically in the city, and the last stop on the T-Bahn rail link is Sognsvann, an unbelievable escape to total tranquility, just a 15-minute ride from downtown. Walking and chilling around this magical lake, even with our noisy boys, made it feel so very appropriate that this is the home of the world's most famous prize for peace. Obama, Annan, Mandela, and over 100 others dating back to 1901 have all received their Nobel Awards from this special little country.
Today is my day. I've decided to leave the other two boys and Wilco behind and treat myself to a nice summer cruise on the fjord of Norway. Of the boat trip, we get a nice buffet of prawns, bread and lemons. What a great trip. It was fantastic for myself. I had a nice buffet, shrimp, lunch, and Freddie's asleep now. It's not ideal for toddlers, but if you've got time on your own, go for it.
Velkommen til Aker Brygge!
Aker Brygge is the old shipyards, just west of the main Oslo harbour, which during the 1990s was transformed into a vibrant and trendy new district, full of restaurants and posh shops with magical panoramic views right out over the North Sea.
Nice hat. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm sorry. I know. Okay. Okay. Too sore to get an ice pack on. Poor little Blighty just fell down half the stairs behind me. That's a proper little bruise, chap. Ooh. But I'm strong, Daddy. But I'm strong. Let's go to the park. Let's go to the park. We're going to have a day in the park all about you. Yay, little bruiser. Tell us where to go. It's your day. We're following you.
When it comes to parks around the world, we reckon as a family we know a thing or two about what makes a great kids' space. But there's not very much we could teach to these Norwegians. Oslo's Frogner Park is out of this world and a first-class kids' spot, especially if you catch it on a lucky sunny day.
Ollie and Max have got really nice rice and chicken McNuggets. We've got leftover sandwiches that we made at breakfast and smuggled out of the B&B. That's what you've got to do when it's about $9 million to stop off and buy lunch.
Within Frogner lies Vigeland Park, an open-air showcase of one of Norway's most loved sculptors, Gustav Vigeland, who along with Edvard Munch and his painting The Scream make up the most famous duo in Scandinavian art.
It makes me laugh that there's still in theory some debate as to whether the big statue in the centre of this park by Vigeland is actually phallic or not. Well, the place is surrounded by pictures of kids, stories of the circle of life, creation, which means reproduction, and pretty much boobs everywhere you look. It can't be anything but a great big phallus in the middle of a park.
The park is packed with Vigeland's work, and over 200 of his magical sculptures freeze themselves here all year round. And the scale of the gardens allows for so many of his works in just one place. And unlike a museum gallery, they blend right in, totally at home, even when covered in snow.
Around Vigeland's central column, there are almost 40 separate sculptures that take you through a journey from this one behind me, babies just being born, through the toddler years with guys like my Ollie and this guy here, into important parts of paternal bonding in this fatherly figure with his kids here, and the maternal side as mum here plays with her little ones on her back, before we all end up very old and lastly, rather morbidly, on life's scrap heap, dead.
The Vigeland Park also has an open-air swimming pool, which on a day like this is a great experience for kids. We're going to go and check it out.
That is proper scary. From us, the boys, it's time to say goodbye on tonight, Oslo and Norway's longest day and night. See you in London. Cheers.